and welcome back to Rational Programming. I've been away for a little while and taken a break from making videos simply because I wanted to concentrate on completing two projects. And don't forget to check the applications below in the description so you can give the projects a test run for yourself. The first one was a weather application, and the second was an e-commerce application. In the first project, the weather application, it was a really good experience being able to build something of my own and get a good feel of how to incorporate APIs in my React project. And it's in the beginning, I was able to pull in data from a weather API and create a UI that displayed that data nice and clearly for the user to see. And I like to deploy all of my projects on Netlify. So the first challenge that I had was essentially getting the application to work on Netlify, which is something that is basically public. Anyone can visit the site that I send the link to. And so to do so, the actual API that I was using actually would require a secured HTTP. And so on my computer locally, I was able to use an unsecured HTTP address. So by doing so, I was unable to get the application functioning on Netlify. So to problem solve, I decided to hard code the data. So any of the temperatures, humidity, whatever it is I've put on the application, I decided to hard code that data and then manipulate that data. And by doing so, I really got good practice at understanding props in React, understanding how to pass data down, essentially prop drilling into other components. I really got to get those fundamentals down and get a good feel of why it works, how it works to make my application work. So I went from dynamic data being pulled in from an API to hard-coded data, which was basically randomized. I used Mathfloor, which is a JavaScript object, to basically manipulate the numbers of the weather and get random numbers each time someone uses it. So if you were to change location, search a location, you would get a different temperature or result every time. So that was a great way to kind of change my application so it would work on Netlify, but still have that same kind of interaction with the user, kind of like a dummy weather application, but still the same interaction with the user. So that was a good experience also, and one of the challenges I had and some of the things I learned as well with this weather application that I built. The second application was a e-commerce application. I wanted to build something that someone could go on to this application, pay for something with their card, and make an order, and then basically get a page that will just tell them that their order's been made and it will be with you in no time, or the date that you've put down. In this experience, it was also a similar. Similar challenge. I wanted to post the application on Netlify as I usually do. I was using Stripe technology, so essentially it's where you can make payments online, and I was able to set up a local server and make a payment, which would be a post request to the backend on Stripe. So I could go on Stripe and see that I've made a £10 payment each time I would buy a book. So the application's for purchasing one book. However, when I decided to deploy the application on Netlify, it was no longer on a local server. So I needed the application to work remotely. And so to do this, I would have to pay for this service, and which I opted not to do just because it's not a production application. It's just my own personal project. So in order for my application to still work on Netlify, I decided to keep the Stripe UI, which is basically where you can enter your card details. However, I just commented out the code for the post to the backend. So it still works like normal. It's just I wouldn't know if you've made a £10 purchase or a dummy purchase on the back end, because the code's completely commented out. However, it was still the state of the application, which will still change as if you've made a purchase. So in this project, I really got a good chance to get a grasp of using conditionals and ternary operators. So it would be either using a ternary operator for changing the state of the whole UI. So once you've put in your card details, chose a date for pickup, and you press pay, the state of the UI, the page will change. Or down to smaller things, I was able to use conditionals and ternary operators. For example, once you enter the date of pickup, there is a button to submit that date so that it's persisted to the next page, or the completion page, so that you get a summary of when the date that you're going to be picking up the product is. On that button, I was able to use a ternary operator to change the styles of the button. So initially it's for example, red button that you enter your date. Once you've pressed the button, it will turn green. So I was able to get that down, the idea of using ternary operators and conditionals, not only to change styles of buttons, but also to change the state of the whole page. So learning those skills, understanding props, conditionals, and ternary operators were really key in helping me design and bring the application to life. So it was really good experience learning so much with these two projects, and it was really worth it, really instilling these skills in my skill set. I just wanted to give you a quick reflection on how it's been going, and I would definitely be using these skills in my next project. And I look forward to letting you guys know how that goes as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode of Rational Programming.